there, everyone, followers of darkness, pirates, bounty hunters, assassins, scavengers, Jedi, Sith, all over across the galaxy. Please welcome, get around here with us, discussing, of course, one of the most greatest Star Wars creations ever made, The Mandalorian Season 3 review. This is the way. I'm your host, like always, Lord of Shadows, and this is my charming associate.
I'm Kieran Goodings from the Film Review Central Show, massive Mandalorian fan, and I see that I'm very charming apparently, according to our fearless leader there. I love that. I've never been called charming before. This is lovely. What a great start.
But don't worry, it has nothing to do with Prince Charming from Shrek. There's nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Anyway, so guys, of course, naturally. Anyway, so here we are, we're going to discuss about our own personal thoughts and what we thought about the Mandalorian Season 3 in general. But beware, we're going to go full into spoilers on this one. If you didn't watch the Mandalorian Season 3 at all, I mean, what the hell were you doing? But either way, here we are. Because, the overall, spoiler kind of unleashed review starts in 3, 2, 1, now. Oh boy, there was so much revealed in this season, so much. Now, before we go into I will say this: I think a lot of people right now thought wait a minute, he's gonna go full into spoilers, and then after the final countdown, he just simply goes regular doing reviews. Hey, that is how I roll. Okay. Anyway, so the Mandalorian Season 3. It's by far, and I think you can also agree with me, is by far the most discussed season of all three. Because after episode 3, for a lot of people, let's just say their opinions turned in a way, But overall, before this time, I don't want to go first. This time, you will start with your overall thoughts about the Mandalorian Season 3. So what do you thought of it?
It was obviously with what we had. By the way, I'm a massive Mandalorian fan. It's my favorite Star Wars Disney Plus show. Just in front of Andor for me. And for me personally, the Mandalorian is the breath of fresh air, and the way that Star Wars really can be done. I loved the first 2 seasons. I rewatched them in anticipation for this season. Obviously, there's been some time since then, so I wanted to sort of reconnect with this world, reconnect with this characters, and them 2 seasons confirmed that it was absolutely fantastic what this show was giving me. I mean, I've just got here, just to the side of the camera, a Mandalorian Funko Pop with Grogu there. I think actually it says with the child on here. It says with the child on here. So as you can see, massive fan of the show. So it had a lot to live up to. I don't think it lived up to the level that we got from the first 2 seasons. And I think that's going to be a definitely very interesting conversation to discuss. Regarding to what you said, obviously, about episode 3, we were actually speaking about it within our Shadow Council group chat and stuff like that we have with all fantastic people in there. And, we also shared sort of a bit of a unity regarding our opinions on that episode, and ultimately that was the massive disappointment with that episode and massive outrage within that. So I think it's had to deal a lot with that. But overall, it was a solid season. There was nothing really standing out to me that really was negative or really possessed that sort of negativity. I just think such a high level, as you put yourself on the precipice, you put yourself on the the peak of Star Wars TV shows, and ultimately, you did feel potentially that this season took a little bit of a downer, but that's just my opinion.
Fair enough. I mean, there's a lot of things that you said, that what you just said right now, that I totally agree with you, because my personal thoughts about the Mandalorian Season 3, I honestly had a blast when it comes to this season. I mean, just like you, nothing during the season was disappointing to me. I mean, let's just say this. Was it was the season perfect? No. Did it had some filler elements? Yes. Did the story move slowly? Yes. But overall, with everything, like from the characters, like their motivations, their relationships, the overall story, the twists and turns, revelations, action sequences. Oh my god, they're like off the roof. Like when it comes, like they're just simply amazing. But with everything what we got, I think I still think it was a very solid. Just like you said, I also believe it was a very solid, satisfying The Mandalorian season 3. And I will be honest, like even the finale for me was absolutely solid. Like I mean, if there wasn't a season 4, let's just put it that way. If there wasn't a season 4, this would also count as a satisfying conclusion. I just want to put that out there. If Jon Favreau did reveal that, that okay, this is it, guys, we're not gonna do any more of The Mandalorian. This is it. I repeat myself, I still will think that this also solidify as a satisfying conclusion. But overall, as a season 3, like we met a lot of different worlds, different characters. Like I said, twists and revelations, like almost like from all like almost like everywhere across the galaxy, so to speak. Like meeting new characters, bringing old characters, some very surprising cameos, by the way, as well. But overall, to just not beat about the bush, for me, it was also satisfying, solid, pretty good season 3.
Yeah, I think there was a tiny bit of negativity regarding this sort of overall perception about the Mandalorian's obviously presence in the Book of Boba Fett, which a lot of people, united in their negativity against that. Me included. I know we've had this conversation on and off camera before, but it was one of them where that last episode of season 2 really was, the peak of what this was. It's still my favorite Mandalorian episodes of all time for me. So going into this season, you really felt like this, especially from the trailer. I thought the trailers really interested me because it was the Mandalorian story. You felt like it was really, Din Djarin's momentum in time with sort of Grogu's arc is done. Obviously, they made some changes, and obviously Grogu's presence in the whole season is something that was debatable in a little bit. But for me personally, I like we said before, it didn't do a lot insanely wrong. I'm not sitting here thinking Mandalorian season 3 is the worst. It's not. There's definitely so many more negativities I could say about the Book of Boba Fett and things like that. There were certain parts of Kenobi you could turn around and go with a little bit of negatives. For me, Mandalorian is still a solid season. I just think living up to the hype of 1 and 2 was very, very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, like personally, I would say this: maybe they could have concentrated more on the main storyline. Kind of like to kind of like extend it a little bit more. So kind of like to make the things more interesting. Like concentrate more on the main storyline and less like filler things that we got. But overall, just like you said, like even like those filler episodes that were like that we have seen in this season, even they contained like bits and pieces of the main story that was going on. And also, I mean, like a lot of people complain that we're like, where the hell is Moff Gideon? Like, what is he doing? Like, what is he up to and everything? I mean, okay, he appeared the last 2 episodes. Spoiler alert. I mean, like I said, we're gonna be spoiler free. Like, spoiler free. We're gonna be spoiler unleashed here. So
you already did that. We're good.
Exactly. I just want to give like a second warning. Anyway, basically, Moff Gideon appeared the last 2 episodes, and honestly, the way how it was going, honestly, I was kind of expecting Moff Gideon not to appear until like the very last few episodes of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of expected that because you have to think about it. Like people, like we're shitting, like we're like this is just one of the things that kind of like we're shitting on. But basically, we're complaining about Moff Gideon not being too much in the season. How about season 1? He appeared like the very last scene in episode 7 of season 1, and then like a little bit on in episode 8. And then like no one was complaining. I mean, okay, it was kind of like the start of the Mandalorian, so I will give I will give them a break and everything, but still, it's kind of like the same thing, But overall,
For me, sorry to cut you off there, but just about Moff Gideon, and what you said about season one, I think season one worked with him being in the last few episodes, only in the last few episodes, because you had the stuff with Carl Weathers and that sort of whole sort of transition, and Mandalorian being ultimately the anti-villain, because there was still that type of thing where he was still being the Mandalorian and the protector of Grogu, known as at that time. Comment section, don't attack me. I'm using his actual name, but I thought his role in season 2 was massively diminished from that, and I was more frustrated the fact that he wasn't in season 2 enough rather than this season, because the way it ended, the way it concluded, I thought Moff Gideon's role in the story came to a really, really satisfactory end. So the fact that he was not in season 3 enough made sense for the chronological of the story. Giancarlo Esposito is a fantastic actor.
Oh,
he's
God,
done some fantastic stuff. So I if there's that personal preference of seeing him on screen, absolutely. But it made the correct decision for the story rather than just chucking him in there and feeling underused.
Also, I just want to say, Moff Gideon in that Imperial Mandalorian armor. Oh my God, he was beautifully badass in that armor. I just want to say that, like, he was terrifying. Also, like that helmet with horns. It kind of like makes you think like like to not just simply Darth Maul but also Garth Saxon as well, because he also had a helmet, Mandalorian helmet with horns and everything. But yeah, I mean, like, in season 2, we have to admit, when it comes to like judging him from season 1 to 2, Moff Gideon was in season 2 more than what he was in season 7. Season 1, season 7,
season 7. My God.
We're now in season 7, everybody. Woo!
By the way, can I just tell a quick story?
Right to the future.
We did. By the way, can I just tell a quick story? I accidentally put a message to our fearless leader here about, when are you doing a review for season 2? And he went, you mean season 3? Now he's done it where he said about season 7. So that's against you. That's karma, that is.
Exactly. But either way, I think like when it comes to Moff Gideon, it's kind of odd that we actually started with him first. But I will say this.
Yes, it was, yeah.
Season 1, basically, you used him in a way they kind of like build up to his character. It was kind of like a build up to his character overall, like the overall Imperial remnant / mastermind behind the curtains, basically. And then like in season 2, they used him even way more. Even though you did say he didn't appear as much as you wanted him, but he did still appear a little bit more. And they used him all the way until the end. For me personally, I felt like that he would use like really well. And now back in season 3, I still think they used him in a very like how can I put this strategic way. They still used him in a very intelligent way, because they still use this build up to his character, but instead of like for officially introducing him, this time they officially like build him up, not just simply like everything that was going on in Mandalore, but also like his escape, what happened to him, like like did he went to the trial, did someone break him out of prison, or in this case the Imperial shuttle, like. And I love that. I mean, I really love that, and I mean, of course, every single scene Giancarlo Esposito was in as Moff Gideon, like, he fucking stole the scenes. Like his presence just simply like unleashes this aura. It basically seems like not just simply like I'm the boss around here, but also it seems like like he's basically kind of like the overall big kahuna, so to speak.
Absolutely. And I think one of the best things and most intelligent things that we saw is this whole concept and this whole idea that we finally know what his plan actually was. We finally know why he wanted Grogu. And I think a lot of people really pushed that to the side. A lot of people, I mean, at the end of the day, his capture wasn't the most memorable thing of season 2 finale. There was a little bit more excitement in some of the cases, but for me, that story felt massively forgotten from a lot of people. And then I think, like I said, very intelligent way of bringing this character back in to this world and culminated and making a lot of people realize what was his plan and why did he do it. And he was still on that journey.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I'll be honest here. Like, when we got the revelation what he was actually doing, and he also kind of gives you a reason why he wanted to shoot himself in the season 2 finale. Now, I was like so wrong on this one because I always had this theory that he was actually working for Thrawn the whole time.
Yeah.
By the way, we're gonna go to Thrawn a little bit later on, but I felt like he was working for Thrawn, or maybe he was somehow connected to the formation of the First Order in a way. So when in season 2, when you have this chamber with like those clone. The cloning chamber with all those like deformed clones. I honestly thought like this was some kind of a connection with like either Snoke or Darth Sidious returning, but no. In season 3, the last episode, we actually find out that those clones are actually of himself. That he was trying to do an army of like his own versions, and like you said, it was revealed why he wanted Grogu because of everything that he mixed up in those clones. He also wanted them to use the Force. I mean, that way he wanted to create his own army. And like everyone has said, and again, I was totally wrong on this one. Like, he definitely had his own agenda in this one. Like, he had nothing to do with Snoke or the First Order or Thrawn, like nothing. Although,
can we get into the best thing? Can we get into the best thing? I feel like you're going to touch on it in a minute. Can we get into the best thing about Moff Gideon this season?
Okay, my mind is like going all over the place, so I have to really like, calculate like what the hell you're actually talking about. But I just want to say this. There's a theory going around. There's a theory going around that the Moff Gideon that actually died is actually a clone. And let me give you the reason why. Because the first 2 seasons, he had a mustache. In this one, he shaved. So a lot of people think like, that's maybe a clone. Maybe that's a clone. Maybe the real Moff Gideon has the mustache still on and all that. Like, I mean, okay, it's kind of like a funny theory. But again, when it comes to Star Wars, anything can be a clue. Anything.
Most definitely, including facial hair. But for me, what I was touching on was that Moff Gideon, and in his association with the one and only Shadow Council, like that was absolutely fantastic. And I watched that episode, and my mind instantly went to our own Shadow Council. Fearless leader right here. Obviously we've got Peyton the Pot Birch and Noah and absolutely fantastic and loads of great people. But as soon as that happened, our group chat was flooded going, did you hear it? So this is absolutely, it was just fantastic. It was such a great moment to see.
Yeah. Also, basically, if you guys don't know, the Shadow Council, and I'm not talking about our Shadow Council, I'm talking about the Star Wars Shadow Council. The Shadow Council is basically a group of like Imperial remnants that the first time actually they appeared was in the Aftermath books. That's actually when they first appeared, and it was actually founded by, what was his name? It was a Fleet Admiral, Gallius Rex. He was the one who created the Shadow Council, and I just love that that in by the way, episode 7 was written by Dave Filoni as well, so it was kind of like really great that he brought the Shadow Council for the very first time on the screen. Because they first, like I said, the only time they were mentioned was in the books. We never saw them like on the screen, never. And also, oh my God, there are 2 Imperials. I lost my shit when I saw them. 2 Imperials. One, I immediately recognized him because no one can escape those fucking white mustache. No one can. Captain Pelion. I was like, oh my God. First and foremost, I was like, wait a minute. In canon, he supposedly died in Star Wars Rebels season 4 when the Purgs and the space whales were like attacking Thrawn, because we only heard like a little bit of his voice, and I was like, how did he survive that? I'm like, well, I know, but somehow he did. But either way, seeing him in person, I was like, oh my god, if this is Captain Pelion, like we're doing the Thrawn trilogy shit. Oh my god, we're doing the Heir of the Empire. I'm telling you, we're doing the Heir of the Empire. And what Dave Filoni said on IGN that his movie is gonna be about the New Republic fighting against the remnants of the Empire. I was like, Heir of the Empire, baby. We're doing the Thrawn trilogy, baby. This is it. So that was the first thing. And I love the way how you mentioned, like, Grand Admiral Thrawn's return will, like, make our military more powerful. I'm sort of paraphrasing here. I love that. Also, we got Hux into the mix as well. Not General Hux from the sequel trilogy, but Brendel Hux, his father, who was also one of the main members when the First Order was founded. And of course, what was the project called? Project Necromancer. Which immediately, because first and foremost, do you know what Necromancer means?
No.
Necromancer means summoning the dead, which gives you a connection to.
Go on.
You.
No.
You say it.
I don't know.
Which gives a connection to Palpatine returning. Now, to be safe here, okay, it could either mean Darth Sidious from The Rise of Skywalker, like his return, or it could easily mean Snoke. Just saying. You could easily even mean Snoke.
Who would you prefer?
I think it will be mostly about Snoke. I think it's gonna be about Snoke, not Palpatine, because when Moff Gideon said, it's time for new leadership, Hux said, well, that's what Project Necromancer is all about. And I'm like, okay, I think it's gonna definitely be about Snoke, not Palpatine, But again, who knows? Anyway, so that was also great to see. Now, let's go. I mean, we're gonna return back to Moff Gideon a little bit in the end, but let's go to other things as well, okay? It's not just simply about Moff Gideon here, even though he was great just in 2 episodes. Okay, now, one thing I will say this, the shitting, in my personal opinion, the shitting started in episode 3, or how we call it, chapter 19, The Convert. That was actually...
Good math.
That was actually... Yes, that was actually the episode where people basically started shitting on The Mandalorian season 3 because it was like the longest episode, and then we had a bits and pieces of Bo-Katan and and Din Djarin at the beginning, and then all the way till there near the end, it was about Dr. Pershing and the oh god, what's her name? Elia Kane, who was under Moff Gideon, and that was the episode that people started saying what the hell is going on with The Mandalorian season 3? And was like, oh my god, this is awful, this and that, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. Anyway, honestly, I just want to say right off the bat, even though it was about Dr. Pershing and Elia Kane, let's just say 90% of it, it was still interesting. Okay, it was still interesting to see this imperial remnants, so to speak, their overall lives and rehabilitation at the hands of the New Republic. That was actually kind of interesting to see, and he also had a little bit of an Endor vibe as well.
Yeah, I was surprised by people's genuine reaction for the same point that you made about it being an Andor style, because a lot of people really like that season for the simplicity of it. I think it slowed down the momentum of the season, but ultimately that was not the massive disagreement and the overall disagreement. It was that people didn't like the filler episodes. However, we were at the time, we were three episodes in. It was doing something different. It was changing the formula, and because it wasn't this massive episode where it had so much excitement and craziness happen, ultimately people just went, I don't like it. People rank and people review episodes on a week-to-week basis without fully knowing what's coming next. That
Yeah.
whole episode story really tied into the future of the season. A lot of people did not predict that. A lot of people did not expect what we were going to get from the Mandalorian, season 3 moving forward. People needed to embrace it. People need to embrace the difference and embrace the changes and ideas that they made. At the end of the day, we are going to get filler episodes within the Star Wars shows. I'm going to make the comparison to obviously the MCU shows. There's not a lot of filler episodes within the MCU shows, and a lot of people will go, there's too much there. The only probably filler episodes we got is probably like one division or something like that. But at the end of the day, personally, the Star Wars shows do decide to do that, and you've got to embrace that. We spoke about how many filler episodes there was on our Bad Batch review, which you should check out now, guys. By the way, that was brilliant. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, need to embrace it, because you don't know where that is going to culminate further down the line. And now, once the finale is finished, once all the stories are tied up, nobody's going, God, that season 3 was weak, wasn't it? I think IGN ranked all 8 episodes of The Mandalorian season 3, and it wasn't last. So it was not the worst, and that's based on, let me see whether I can get it whilst you're talking, but it was definitely not last, because I actually made a choice in looking, and here we go. I've just got it here in front of me. Yeah, episode 3 was 6th. So at the end of the day, people didn't hate it as much as they made out, because it was very, like we said, it made an intelligent choice, and it was not exactly what people wanted, but I really enjoyed it, and they should embrace the changes.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. Like, the episode 3, did a very bold choice. They did some really bold choices in that episode. But for me personally, it was a welcoming one. It was a welcoming choice they did, and I like that, they concentrate on Dr. Pershing and Alia Kane more than, Bo-Katan and the Mandalorian, because at the end of the day, I said it before, like every single episode that we saw, like even with the filler ones, every single one of them had a bits and pieces of the main storyline that in the end, the last 2 episodes, it all connected really well, like for example, like when I saw episode 3, I never trusted Alia Kane. I never trusted that girl, like I always felt like, she's there as Moff Gideon's spy. She's there as a spy. And when we saw episode 7, I was right. I mean, like almost everyone else, I was right. She was a spy. She worked for Moff Gideon the whole time. Even like that conversation, even with that, conversation, that she had with Carson Teva, in like, the episode The Pirate. Like even that conversation that she had with him, even that proves that, she was a spy. Like basically she didn't want the New Republic to get involved, and that again was revealed in episode 7 as well. I mean, everything we like the overall main story that was in season 3, we went to Mandalore. We went in the mines of Mandalore, within Jaren, in the waters. They went back to the tribe, to the watch, with the armor. Oh my God. By the way, the armor in this episode, in this season, she was a badass. Every single scene she was in, like, again, she was amazing. A
lot of people, a lot of my fans will know Tom, who I do my reviews with. That's his favorite character. Seriously, did Jaren Grogu? He likes them, but the armorer, he goes, yeah, she's the best. I was like, okay, just give her a show about her, and I will watch it. Yeah. And then she was badass. She needed more to do. Like, that was one of the things where I just went, I just need a bit more. She's great in her role, but I just need a bit more. We got
but you also have to realize, yes, okay, that's fair enough. But you also have to realize that in season 3, she had a way bigger role than she had in season 1 and season 2. She had a way bigger role in this one. And like I said, story-wise, everything connected. Then Jaren went to Mandalore. He went to the mines of Mandalore. He went into the waters, where they basically, of course, they also saw the mighty Mythosaurus. They saw him. They went back to the Watch. Bo-Katan and she spent a lot of time with them. They kind of like, created this kind of like, relationship, so to speak, And then, of course, they went on this journey to find other Mandalorians, in which in the end resulted in trying to take over Mandalore once again. There you have it. All of this was for the entire season 3. All of this, okay, they could have easily extended, like I said, less filler episodes, but that's what Star Wars is all about. And just like you said, Star Wars did before. Hey, let's not forget the Clone Wars, Rebels, Resistance. Like, they had so many filler episodes, and they still put in some elements of the story, of the main story. They still had them in. I mean, the Clone Wars. Okay, the Clone Wars, I always use it as the biggest example because it wasn't just simply about Ahsoka, Anakin, or Obi-Wan. You also had episodes with C-3PO and R2-D2. You had episodes with Padme. You had episodes with other Jedi. You had episodes with like Yoda. You had episodes with centering around Darth Maul and the Mandalorians. You had so many different episodes. You can kind of say they're filler, but again, that's what Star Wars does. And season 3 did that as well. And I embrace it. I welcome it with all my heart and Star Wars fandom. I don't see that in a very negative way. Also, another thing I want to mention, Bo-Katan, what they did with her in season 3 was magnificent. Kate, I think I'm going to butcher her last name, Kate Sackhoff, who portrayed
you got it.
Oh,
you got
I
it.
Did. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
What she did with Bo-Katan, her portrayal was amazing, and I love it. I love what they did with her character, and I loved her relationship, not just simply with the armor, but the watch entirely. Like, for example, the episode The Foundling, when they had to rescue Paz Vizsla's son with against those like dinosaur-ish vultures, whatever. That episode alone, even you think the story overall makes no sense, like we wasted time. We didn't, because it built up not just simply Bo-Katan's character, but they also gave us more about Paz Vizsla, about the Watch, and her relationship with other Mandalorians, alongside Din Djarin, which is another thing I want to say. Din Djarin and Bo-Katan's relationship in this season was also magnificent. I love their interaction, that goes between them. And I will be honest, there were some moments that kind of made me feel that they could be a couple. Like, there were some moments, like bits and pieces, not like real clues, like, okay, this is going to happen. But there were some bits and pieces where they were like a little bit intimate with each other. But again, that's just me, like just simply blowing up smoke or whatever. Like,
you and only you. Yes, I've always been like a brother and sister vibe, and then looking after the younger sibling in Grogu. I really liked it, and I thought Bo-Katan was absolutely fantastic. She carried the season in so many places. Interaction with every single character,
which is also one of the things that people complain. That wait a minute, it's about Din Djarin now. Bo-Katan took over. Like, what the fuck is going on? First and foremost, let's just say it this way. It's called The Mandalorian. It's not called Din Djarin Adventures with Grogu. It's called The Mandalorian. Okay, the first 2 seasons were about him and Grogu, but now it's about the Mandalorians in general. Basically each Mandalorian.
But I think people should have been paid more attention than if they did things like that to the trailers, because the trailers really captured every single part of what Mandalorians were doing. They obviously introduced the Mandalorians in season 2, different types, and then it took it to another level in the season, which I was a real big fan of. Like you said, it had a responsibility, and my opinions on Grogu coming back in this season, I'll get into a little bit later. But for me personally, the Mandalorians really added so much fantastic parts to this world. It's such a really cool part, and I think whilst the trailer really demonstrated that, people still went, it's still going to be about Din Djarin and Grogu. If you really paid attention to the trailers, you really saw the fact that they are looking at this and going, how can we bring in loads of different Mandalorians and make this feel like this sort of Western style element that the season 1 did so well. I think it did drop off a little bit in season 2, mainly because of the incredible sort of responsibilities and the massive sort of momentum it had. But I think this season really brought it back, and they had to do it with the Mandalorian characters.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I will say this: every single Mandalorian in this season shine. Not just simply Din Djarin or Bo-Katan, but like I said, the armor, Paz Vizsla, what's his name, Axe Woes. Like every single Mandalorian shine in this one. And I have to say, like from people calling Paz Vizsla a jerk, I would say this: in this season, they're gonna love Paz Vizsla in this season from the very beginning. Like not just simply his respect for Bo-Katan that he actually that she actually earned, but also the overall character itself. And spoiler alert, the way he died in episode 7 of season 3, I'm like, the guy went out like a boss. Like the sacrifice he did, and also his last words being, "This is the way." I was like, man, it was sad, tragic, but the way how they finished him off, it was just simply wonderful. And also, I mean, the guy went off not just simply against the Imperial Mandalorians, but also he went against 3 Praetorian guards. 3. I mean,
but for me,
this is
for
big.
me, Paz. Yeah, man, it was crazy. Like I said, his story really came to a really nice and satisfactory end. But then when people saying, "Oh, he's a jerk" and stuff like that, that was his character. I mean, this something that really frustrates me with a lot of things is that my people's opinion of him reminds me very much of the people's opinion of John Walker in Falcon the Winter Soldier, where everybody's like, I do not like him. He is, he is he is an arsehole and everything like that. He's a jerk and stuff like that. But that's his character. If people are reacting to him in a really positive way, the executives and the writers and the directors are going, "We're doing something wrong here because you're supposed to hate him." Paz Vizsla was always that character which was supposed to be in the way. He was supposed to create the massive sort of tension and stuff like that. And also, he had a responsibility as a character to consistently go against Din Djarin and be that sort of, not a villain, but more of the focus where he was a problem for him. Because everything he tried to do, he was always in the way and stuff like that. At the end of the day, that's his character. But then what did he do? Flipped it completely on his head, and then you care about this character when obviously he dies in episode 7. So, I mean, we mentioned consistently about these Mandalorians, and everybody played their part really, really well. And, the most important thing was that they were so memorable. They weren't in the backdrop. It wasn't Din Djarin, Din Djarin shows with a bunch of Mandalorians in the background. They really paid massive focus and attention on them and made them real favorites in my opinion. And for me, that was the strength of season 3 of the Mandalorians, is that Mandalorian, because we had Mandalorians in it.
Exactly. I mean, like I said, I mean, even I said before, like every single character had their moment to shine. Even the minor ones, like even Greff Karga, played by Carl Weathers, like even he had his moments basically to shine, especially like in the pirate episode. Also, I just want to say this. Like very, 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 very quickly. The fucking Pirate King, what's his name? Gorian Shard. Are you still there?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. I just want to say this. First and foremost, the Pirate King, Gorian Shard. I just have to mention, like, very quickly, like his design. Oh my god. It's like Davy Jones and Swamp Thing had a baby. And it will be Gorian Shard, the Pirate King. Also, I mean, the one thing, like, it actually took me like a little bit longer to recognize his voice. Was that actually what's his name? Nonzo Anozi or something?
I'm not too sure. I'll check on it while you carry on sort of talking. I'll check on it. You carry on, but yeah, I think so.
Because it took me a little bit longer because I had to rewatch a few scenes with him in it, like to recognize his voice. And I think that was Nonzo Anozi, or I think that's actually his name. Also,
Nonzo Anozi.
Yeah. I mean, also, there's another character in the Mandalorian that that I kind of got interested a little bit, and that's Vane. The pirate that was with the Pirate King. The kind of like in the pirate episode flew away. Okay, right. I'm gonna say right now that pirate. I mean, that was actually, I think that was also revealed in Star Wars Celebration, but he's gonna appear in Skeleton Crew. So that so basically in that episode we kind of like already kind of like a build up to Skeleton Crew, so to speak. I mean, at first people thought that the Pirate King will also appear in Skeleton Crew, but of course, unfortunately, he went down with his ship like every single captain does. So Vane will be the one to take over the mantle, so to speak. But like even episodes like that, like even though some people, when I mentioned before that that stories in a way in season 3 are connected, that pirate attack that was also connected to Moff Gideon as well. Like that was also connected with him, which is another thing that proves that they still stick to the main story with a little bit of like filler elements in between. And also, I just want to say the pirate is also one of my favorite episodes of season 3. I just love that episode. Like, just people like, seeing the Mandalorians against all these pirates, like, but the overall story was very interesting as well. Not to mention, I just want to say, right, I just can't wait till the end. I just can't wait. I have to say it. In that episode, we had a very special cameo. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. But we had a very special cameo, or more precisely, a character that appeared with Carson Teva in the bar.
The Rebels.
And that was, yes, Alasat, to be more precise. And that was none other than Garazeb Aurelios, a.k.a. Zeb, from Star Wars Rebels. When I saw him, I lost my shit. Again, I was like, is that Zeb? And then I heard it was like, okay, that's Steve Blum. And he voiced him in Rebels. I was like, oh my God, that's Zeb. Which is another clue, because that also showed the build-up to Ahsoka, which means we're going to see Zeb in Ahsoka as well. But again, I don't know. I mean, I think like you will. I don't know. I think like you would kind of feel a little bit uncomfortable if you were sitting with me watching the episode, because I would have like basically when I saw his cameo, I was jumping back and forth like in the room. I was like screaming and so excited to see him.
I've just been laughing. I've just been laughing.
Oh my God! Like, yeah, I told you. I mean, I lost my shit when I saw that cameo, like of Zeb from Star Wars Rebels. Oh my God! And also in live action, which is absolutely phenomenal. So which is definitely a clue. Just like Vane, when he flew away, is a build up to Skeleton Crew. Zeb is definitely a build up to Ahsoka. Definitely.
Well, obviously we got the trailer for that at Star Wars Celebration. Looked absolutely fantastic, and I don't know.
Oh my God! Yes,
it's making a lot of people, really truly appreciate how important the Mandalorian is to that sort of TV world. Obviously it was the first Disney Plus show. It was the first from Star Wars. And it hit the ball racing, and we got the ball rolling on a shared TV universe. Yes, they've done some nostalgic things like Obi-Wan and Tales of the Jedi, which I've just rewatched that, and my God, amazing. And Star Wars Visions, which how excited I am for that. But it obviously.
And this time, oh my, yeah, I just want to say, and this time in Star Wars Visions, we are having fucking Aardman joining in to do Star Wars Visions. Oh my God, I cannot wait to see their episodes. I cannot wait.
I massively embarrassed myself in the upcoming Star Wars Project Shadow Council episode, where it was just, I just shared my love and appreciation for that show. But the Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and Mandalorian one is all linked. So that's absolutely fantastic, and it is what Star Wars, really need to do at the moment. They need to sort of, and they're absolutely doing it fantastically in that aspect. So yeah, really like the cameos in this as well. It gives the opportunity for this to feel such a celebratory sort of Star Wars show, with also making a lot of really important decisions as well with the story.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. The one thing, I will be honest, I just want to say this in general. The one thing The one thing I was a little bit disappointed was how they used the mythosaur in season 3. I thought like they were gonna use him like basically the episode 2, like kind of like a build up to him, and then like later on he will basically in the finale kind of like appear like with, I don't know, Bo-Katan riding him or something, because like at first we saw him at the bottom of this river, and then like later in the actual finale we just simply saw another glimpse of him when basically Grogu was watching in the water, and I'll be honest, I don't know why. I don't know the fuck why, but when I saw that scene when Grogu was watching in the water, and then like you see at the bottom of this river, and then like it's building up all the way to the mythosaur. I don't know why, but in my head, I heard the song of Two Worlds, One Family by Phil Collins. I'm like, why?
Again, you and only you. It's brilliant, honestly. Your perception of when you watched them is brilliant.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know the way how he was building up. I was hearing in my head, like what you see is what you most believe it. Two worlds, one family. Trust your heart. I'm like, I don't know. It gave me something like Two Worlds, One Family, Phil Collins vibe. I don't know. That scene kind of give me that song in my head. I don't know.
Fantastic. That's really good. That's really good. But can we talk about Grogu? Is that are we?
Oh yes.
Like, it was like, listen, Grogu is cute, every single bit in it. Like, just seriously, you can't help but having like a massive smile on your face when you see him there. I just think, I mean, obviously, I didn't like the Boba Fett show, and that was one of the major things I didn't like. I just thought it was massively in the backdrop. Yeah, sorry, Mr. Shadows. I can see you just really annoyed with me, like a teacher in a school. Just like, honestly, you've said that, you've mentioned it. I'm happy with you. No, it's just, I felt like he was the backdrop of this. He was just there. And for me, that the IG unit, put him in the IG unit, I really hated that. Like we mentioned about.
Really?
Yeah, I just thought it was a little bit just sort of like, let's give Grogu something to do, and like that thing where he's just walking around and he went yes, no. I was just it was really, really frustrating me. I know. I'm not going to be on the channel anymore after that comments, but no, it was just, I don't know. It just didn't really, got me as much. I just think with the way that this season. This is going to be really, really painful to say. It'll be a massively unpopular opinion. But if you took Grogu out of this season, I don't know whether my opinion on it would be slightly better, because it would be like the opportunity. And I think you just had more opportunity for Grogu if he was going to be trained to be a Mandalorian, in certain moments to really get that sort of training montage in there. What are you? Oh, you're just adjusting. I thought you were just, your hands are on your head, just in shock.
No.
I was like, oh no, what have I done? But no, it just, for me, was, like I said, loved Grogu. I thought the first 2 seasons he was fantastic. It was such a cool journey. I just think taking him out of this probably would be the most intelligent decision to make in the grand scheme of things. If you like finale, if you brought him in the finale, by the way, that ending shot, like we'll talk about that later, but that ending shot was just absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, if you put him in that finale, that would have been brilliant. That would have been really, really good to see Grogu with the Mandalorians, taking back Mandalore, and stuff like that. That would have been fantastic. But for me, I just think it felt like he was just being forced in for a marketing aspect massively, because you can't have Mandalorian without Grogu and vice versa. And for me, I just didn't appreciate that.
Huh.
By the way, that's the last time I'll be appearing on the Lord of Shadows channel. Lord of Shadows will not be speaking to me anymore. Thank you very much.
You are banned for all eternity.
Oh god! Please don't mention this in the group chat. I'm going to get kicked out.
Get out! You are an embarrassment to the Shadow Council. You are now in exile.
I am on a warning. Mr. Shadows personally gave me a warning a couple of weeks ago about things on the group chat. So I feel like I'm on 2 strikes. Honestly, one more and I'm out. So I've got to be careful. Tread lightly.
One more strike, and you'll be banished forever. How's that?
Brilliant. Amazing. Amazing. I'm sorted now.
Okay. Wow. I have to be honest. Like your opinions about Grogu about this season, it's really interesting because I felt like the way how they used him in season 3 was actually for me, it was actually brilliant because
You definitely.
yeah, it was actually for me was brilliant because I love the way how they developed this character, especially in this season. Because let's not forget, in this season we got Revelation who saved them during Order 66, and there was no one else.
Oh,
I
that
just
that
cannot.
was the best part of it.
Okay. I just cannot believe. First and foremost, I just cannot believe it was Kelleran Bog, the Jedi Master from the Jedi Temple Challenge. First and foremost, I was really shocked to see him, number one. And two, Ahmed Best, the one and only voice of Jar Jar Binks. Like, he portrayed that Jedi, and that one little sequence that he had, he was great. And also, I just want to say, just like I said for Hayden Christensen, I'm so happy that Ahmed Best is not only returned to the Star Wars universe, but also that he's getting the love that he deserved from the fans. Like, I'm so happy for him. I really am so happy for him, And again, to see him as the Jedi Master, Kelleran Bog, like, I mean, seriously, out of all the Jedi Masters they could have used, honestly, I never took Kelleran Bog to consideration. Honestly, I never took the Jedi Master into consideration, and it was a really big surprise for me. But anyway,
that was the best part of it, by the way. Like, just to protect myself and try and get back on his good side. That was the best bit of like the whole season for Grogu. Like, that was fantastic. The other bits that I question. There we go.
Okay.
I feel like I'm back in the good books. There we go.
Okay, fair enough. But I will say this: like the way how they use Grogu in this season. Like, for example, there are a few moments in this season I felt like they were really fantastic. Like, number one, when the Mandalorian was captured by that cybernetic General Grievous-ish creature in the mines of Mandalore. Like, when he was captured by that creature, Grogu went all the way to Bo-Katan's planet. I can't remember the name right now, but he went all the way to her planet to ask for help, and he was the one who guided her towards Din Djarin. That for me was great how they used Grogu. Number one. Number two, again, the flashback sequence with the Order 66. I love the way how they finally revealed who saved him and how it all started. Not to mention also the possibility that Kelleran Bach could be still out there somewhere. Just saying, we could see Ahmed Best again. Who knows? Anyway, also I just want to say I like that those robes. That kind of reminds me of the High Republic as well. That Kelleran Bach was wearing. Kind of remind me of that. I love that. Also, you said you didn't like it when he was in IG-11. That was hilarious. Oh my god! Yes. No. Yes. I love that.
It's more annoying you doing it.
Now you're banished. Get out.
Oh, there we go. Oh no. Goodbye, everybody.
Anyway, yeah, but then to you it was frustrating. For me, it was hilarious. Also, the yes, when you have Paz Vizsla and Woz when they were fighting on that boat on Mandalore, I love the way how Grogu went between them and basically stopped them and saying no, like don't like. Basically being the pacifist in the group. I love that moment they had with Grogu. I love that. Also, one of my favorite moments as well. Grogu fighting the Praetorian Guards and then later on Moff Gideon. I love that. And also the way he was jumping like on the top and while the Praetorian Guards were hunting him down. I love that moment as well. And I love how Grogu pushed Moff Gideon's weapon off the cliff of the edge. I love that as well. So I think that personally, how they use Grogu in this season, for me personally, I kind of adds more into the character itself. That's just me. Also, I just want to say this: the last scene Again, kind of off the topic, it kind of reminds me of Thanos at the end of the Infinity War.
It was absolutely sensational. Just the whole style, the directing element, like you said, with the Thanos in Infinity War, just how
Yeah.
it was. It almost sort of like that sort of 90s type of thing where like it goes into like a circle and then closes. I just thought that was absolutely sensational. Like I was expecting like this like, an end credit scene and stuff like that, just trying to set something up. But
Yeah.
but then when it happened, I was like, yes,
Honestly,
like that was so cool.
yeah. I mean, like I said, the last scene with like Din Djarin and like Grogu playing with the one-eyed frog. I love that scene. And again, I told you, as I told you, it reminded me so much of Thanos at the end of Infinity War. But again, such a beautiful shot. I love that conclusion. And I will say this: I said that at the very beginning. If there weren't a season 4, I would take that as a beautiful conclusion to the Mandalorian TV show. If there wasn't a season 4. However, now a lot of people are saying which direction season 4 can go because the main overall chapter is now concluded. Like the Mandalorians are now they took over Mandalore. They're now trying to rebuild it. They turn on the Forge, the Great Forge, and everything. So what could happen next? Well, as when he was discussing Carson Teva, he did say, that he's going to hunt down Imperial remnants, for the New Republic, which not only builds up to season 4, but also maybe there's a possibility he could appear in Ahsoka. Just
Well,
saying.
I hope so. I hope so. I mean, I present this question after sort of finishing my point is that Ahsoka, that first trailer looks absolutely fantastic, like I mentioned earlier. So there is that real sort of possibility, the fact that Mandalorian seems to be this, this massive show. It reminds me very much of the Arrowverse, where you felt like anything consequential happening in the Arrowverse was happening in Arrow. And then
Yeah.
obviously they had the Flash and Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, and all that stuff. You feel like Mandalorian is that show. It's the poster show of this whole sort of Disney Plus world. So obviously we're going to get Ahsoka before we get anything with Mandalorian season 4. But even if we have Boba Fett in it, even if we have like a like Boba Fett in Ahsoka, I think that could really, really be cool. But like I said, tying everything together, where do you think they should go with Mandalorian season 4? Because now that they've culminated these stories, do you set up something else? Because season 4, they've confirmed that's the last one, right? They're saying that's the last one.
I mean, as far as I know, I think first and foremost, season 4 is gonna come out before Dave Filoni's like conclusion Star Wars movie that he wants to do. Like it's gonna come out before that. So I do think season 4 will be the last one. I think it will be the last one. I mean, people. I mean, okay. Let's just put it this way. 2025. I think like we're gonna start with like Rey Skywalker and rebuilding the New Jedi Order movie. I think like this is gonna be the first one
That's
we're gonna do.
Be interesting.
Yeah, setting up 15 years after the rise of Skywalker. By the way, I just want to say this: I'm really happy to see Rey again. That's just me. Anyway, so that's gonna be the.
I just said I agree because I'm now going to agree with everything with you what you say.
You can have freedom of speech, okay? Don't worry about it. I'm not like pointing at you as with a shotgun or something. I'm not having an assassin outside your window by basically when you say something wrong, bang, he's gonna shoot you in the head. Like there's nothing like that. Anyway,
that'd be interesting end to the live stream. That'd be interesting end, yeah. Very good.
Oh yeah, sure. Anyway, so basically, now when you and like I said, 2025, I think Rey Skywalker's movie is gonna come out first, and then like I think we're gonna see Dave Filoni's movie. Here's the thing: if they do movies like per year, like 25, 26, 27, 28, if they do this and not like every 2 year, then we could see Dave Filoni's movie in 2026. Yes. Again, we should see. We shall wait and see. But I think like season 4 could be the last one. I think it could be the last one. Anyway, to answer your question, where season 4 can go? Well, first and foremost, and to be honest here, I don't want him to bring back Moff Gideon. Okay, I think like Moff Gideon, the way how he died, swallowed by the fire of the light cruiser. Like I think, like it should be it. This is the end of Moff Gideon. His operations on Mandalore, which by the way was a really good twist and also answered many questions that he was settled on Mandalore. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, like I don't want to see Moff Gideon again. I think like his story is over. With all his connections with Mandalore and the Darksaber and everything. So where can season 4 go? That's interesting. Now, one thing's for sure, season 4, I don't think we're gonna see Bo-Katan again. I think like her story is over.
Really? That's surprising.
Hear me out on this one. Now, of course. Okay, now I don't think Bo-Katan will have in season 4 if Jon Favreau decides to bring her back. If he decides to bring her back, I don't think Bo-Katan will have the same role as she did in season 3. I think like she will appear like maybe once or twice. I don't think she's gonna have a bigger role because I have a feeling it's gonna be more concentrated on Din Djarin and Grogu, just like it was in season 1 and season 2. And the main center of the story, I think, is going to be him going after Imperial remnants. Which could mean now. Could this mean we could have an overall main villain? Definitely. Now, the way how I see it, I think like the main villain this time should be like the remnants of the Shadow Council. Like with Moff Gideon out, you have like other Imperials basically in the mix, so to speak. Talking about like their actions and everything. What we're gonna do now that Moff Gideon is gone, like and all of that. And also you can connect season 4 even more and more to Thrawn. You can connect season 4 and more to Grand Admiral Thrawn, just saying, to the overall finale, which is the main movie. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't think the story, like I said, the Mandalore thing is gone. That Mandalore story is already done and settled, all set in stone. So yeah, I think it's gonna be adventures of Din Djarin and Grogu against the Imperial remnants, and him like doing this bits and pieces of when it comes to jobs for the New Republic. Now, one thing I will say, I think we're definitely going to see back Carson Teva as well. We're definitely going to see him back.
I think for season 4, I think he's got to have that responsibility because it is the flagship show of this whole Disney Plus Star Wars thing, like we mentioned earlier. I think he has that responsibility, and it might, if we do see Mandalorian in Ahsoka, whether it will deal with the sort of backlash of that. I think Bo-Katan will have a big role because I think she could potentially lead into a show dedicated exclusively for her and the future now that she's sort of the head of the Mandalorians. I think it's got that responsibility then of creating a balance between the Bo-Katan storyline and then a celebration of Din Djarin and Grogu, because at the end of the day, them two characters really did start this world as. So I think he's got that responsibility of concluding them stories, feeling like they're at that peace in that moment, but also setting things up potentially for something further. So I think it could really have that massive responsibility of dealing with both stories, and obviously then whatever we're going to be getting from Ahsoka. If you've got the Ahsoka show and having Din Djarin in and having some sort of cause and effect from that, I think that could really work. I think they're going to have to deal with the fallout, and the whole dynamics of season 4 could change based on the outcome of that show.
Yeah, but hear me out on this one. Like, I still think that Bo-Katan will not have a major role in season 4. I still think she's gonna appear, like I said, I think once or twice. Because hear me out. Her story, her journey, basically, for now has come to an end. Like now she, took over Mandalore. She's trying to rebuild it and everything. She's trying to reunite all other Mandalores that are left, across the galaxy and all that. So I don't think she will have time, going around with Din Djarin and basically, helping him with the other Imperial remnants and all that. So I think personally that part of the story.
I think they'll have their own thing. I think they'll have their own thing to do.
Exactly. So that's why I'm saying Bo-Katan will not have a major role this time, because her story is done. It's already set in stone. and everything. And I think the season 4 will concentrate, like I said, not only Din Djarin doing work for the New Republic, but also training Grogu as his apprentice. Basically, I think like he's gonna also concentrate on that. Not just simply building this father-son relationship, but also he's gonna try to train him in the ways of Mandalore. I think like so. I think so. Again, so here's my basically story elements that I think they're gonna happen: father-son relationship, training Grogu in the ways of Mandalore, hunting down Imperial remnants, and also connecting it to the overall Dave Filoni movie grand finale.
Yeah, it's got a lot of responsibility, but it's whether they can deal with that and whether they can, counterbalance, all these potential stuff. They've done that really, really well in the 3 seasons. We've got, more, in the case this season, with the amount of responsibility it sort of had on it and all the different storylines culminating. I think they did a great job. So hopefully they can do that again for season 4. But I mean, I've got another question.
Go ahead.
Favorite and least favorite episode from season 3?
Oh, that's a hard one. Okay, my favorite one. Okay, I will say this. My favorite one is definitely The Spies. The episode 7, basically. That's my favorite one. My least favorite one. I know why. I know which episode people will think that I'm gonna say, but honestly, my least favorite one, I'm gonna go with. It's gonna surprise you, actually. The Foundling.
Really?
Yeah, because like I said, my only problem with season 3 was that the story went a little bit too slow. And that episode, like there were some elements in it, that kind of was like they could have done more, basically, not just simply concentrating on the overall Foundling, which is basically, come on, like saving Paz Vizsla's son from the vulture dinosaur kind of like creatures, like this was basically the overall story, and kind of like Bo-Katan leading them, so to speak, I mean, because I know that a lot of people would say guns for hire. Like, I should like this. Like, I should have said this is like my least favorite one, but it's actually not. It's not my least favorite one.
It's mine.
And
it's
mine
mine.
is not. Mine is not because I liked it. I liked it because first and foremost, it's a reminiscent to not just simply to the to. It's a reminiscent to the prequels, Clone Wars, and Count Dooku. That's why I don't. That's why it's not my least favorite one. Also, I mean, let's not forget. Okay, we must not forget this. Okay, of all the guest stars in this one, oh my God, we got Jack Black, Christopher
Bowser.
Lloyd, yes, Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown. And we also got fucking Lizzo in it as well. I'm like, wow. First, okay. I'll be honest. Christopher Lloyd, I already knew he was cast in The Mandalorian season 3. I already knew that, but I was still questioning like what kind of a role he's gonna have. And honestly, I was hoping for him to be like an old Imperial. I was kind of hoping for that. So I was a little bit disappointed what kind of role they gave him, but still the way how he portrayed this character, it's still, I was like, that's one hell of a performance, from Christopher Lloyd. And I just love Christopher Lloyd playing the villains. I just love that, because he has this kind of like manner that makes him menacing in a way, even though like, when people see him, they see him as just as Doc Brown, basically. But I will say this.
He was cool. He was cool.
Yes.
Christopher Lloyd
was cool.
The best.
Yes, but never in a million years I would expect it to see Jack Black in Star Wars.
It was so good. Like, it was so good. Like, it was just brilliant. Like, just everything about it. And like the fact that we've now gone, like, we've done 2 live streams back to back, and Jack Black has been the best bit of one of our discussions is brilliant. I love Jack Black.
Yeah, and I will say this. I love his character. I thought his character was interesting, you know, and also let's not forget he's an Imperial remnant as well,
Yeah.
you know. And I love that the relationship that he had with Lizzo's character. I love their relationship as a couple, you know, they really fit
Li-
together. And I really,
Lizzo, I didn't like. I didn't like Lizzo.
I mean, she was look. She had a personality of an ordinary, you know, peaceful queen, so to speak. You know,
Yeah.
like you know, so it wasn't nothing special. But I still liked, you know, the character. But I would say the reason why I do not hate Guns for Hire, and I don't think it's my least favorite one, because not only it's reminiscent to the prequels, Clone Wars, and also not to mention Count Dooku and the Separatists, but also it shows more about the world of droids. You know, that they are also, so to speak, they are also human beings, and they also have rights and a second chance, so to speak. You know, and I love that. You know, remember in the original trilogy when they went to Mos Eisley in that bar and they said no droids allowed. In this one, we had no humans allowed.
Yeah,
It was just
that
for
was
droids.
really nice. I like that.
I like that too, you know. And also, I mean, come on, clankers. I just love seeing clankers. You know, Roger, Roger. I just love seeing clankers. You know, you know, and it was really great to see them, and also battle droids as well. You know, it was really great to see them. But I mean, and again, I'll be honest. The reason why I had to choose the Foundling is because, and honestly, there was like shot in the dark because I like all episodes. None of them were like least favorite, you know. But if I had to choose, I have to choose like I don't know the Foundling. But I will not choose on purpose. I will not choose Guns for Hire on purpose, because I disagree that episode was bad. I disagree.
I'll probably say, I mean, that one was probably where was on the lower side, but I think episode 2, the Mines of Mandalore, I just think it was a bit like you were saying about the story. I mean, my overall opinion on the overarching plot of the season 3 is that I think it lacked that sort of urgency to really progress forward and do a lot of things that I would have liked to see. I think that episode 2 really started to sort of build that opinion for me, is that it lacked that sort of urgency. It was really great, and going to Mandalore was really cool. I was surprised it was that early that, you know, they decided to introduce it. But I do think that was a very slow burner, and to do that on episode 2 when you were just testing the waters, I think was a little bit sketchy. So for me, that would probably be that one. But episode 7, The Spies, for me was just brilliant. It was just brilliant.
I mean, we can all agree. Okay, we can both agree. We can both agree that episode 7 was the best one. You know, it was absolutely great. Everything that we wanted to know, like they put together in this episode, like everything we wanted, and it was absolutely perfect. Not to mention episode 8, the fucking sky fight between like Imperial Mandalorians and actual Mandalorians, and the way how Bo-Katan was leading them with a Darksaber. By the way, I just want to ask you, what did you thought of the end of the Darksaber?
I thought it was cool. I did think I think it was a good story decision, but it was one of them where I just sort of thought, you know, oh, this would have been really cool if it stayed around, but I understand why they didn't. So it was a good decision overall for me. I don't think it ruined a lot.
Yeah, because a lot of Star Wars fans actually have seen their reactions. They were like, you know, what the fuck? They ruined the Darksaber? What the hell is going on? Like, I get I mean I get the reason why Jon Favreau decided to do it. I get the idea why, but I still think we're gonna see the Darksaber again. I think that they're gonna fix it. I think they're gonna fix the weapon, and I think Bo-Katan is gonna lead it again. I think she's gonna wield it again. You know, but overall, like I said, you know, this. Yeah, I mean, we have to agree. Like the Spies was absolutely like the best of all 8 of them. Definitely.
It just had that urgency for me. It just had that urgency. It got a lot of real sort of, you know, memorable moments going. I really liked the set design. You know, it very much reminded me of Pirates of the Caribbean and all that sort of element and stuff like that. I just think, like I said, that lack of urgency was throughout the whole season, and then when season 7, it really put this season back onto that right track. And then when I finished watching, I was like, this finale now, they have just gone, watch the finale, is going to be big. And my anticipation level for that finale massively gone up after watching episode 7. I nearly said season 7 then. I nearly did a mistake that you made.
You already said season 7.
Did I? There we go.
Yes.
Me and you have both made the... we've both done it. We've both done it.
I have a question for you. Did you were you disappointed that there was no crate scene?
Yes.
Me too. Honestly, me too. I would have loved to see a crate scene that no. Okay, now I think I'm asking too much, but I would have loved to see a crate scene that kind of builds up to the upcoming Ahsoka TV show. Basically, let me put it this way. Okay, let's just put it this way. Let's just say a crate scene where you see kind of Palion talking to Thrawn, basically, or something like that. But you don't see Thrawn in person. You see him as a hologram, so to speak. Basically, you see the hologram and you see Palion in person. He's talking, and you can see he's talking to someone, and you can see a little bit of his white uniform, and you kind of know who it is. And basically, you start to hear the voice, and then all of a sudden you hear you see the rank, the white suit again, and then you see Thrawn's face, and basically he says something, about my idea would be they were discussing about Moff Gideon. And then basically, you see the last thing you see, Ahsoka coming this August.
Yeah, that would have been cool. Do you know? I think the reason why they did it was because they didn't want to reveal too much. The fact that the Mandalorian's events, even though like you said, it does build up a lot. You sort of want that confirmed, but it's still presenting the question of, is it? Even though I think we are sort of 95% sure that we are going to see that link between this season and Ahsoka. But yeah, I would have liked something just to sort of pique an interest, because I think that's exactly the whole point of doing a end credit scene, is to pique your interest. It doesn't, it's not an extra scene that closes out a story arc from the season, because that should already be done. I would have liked to see it, yeah, most definitely. But overall, I think that last shot was absolutely beautiful and stuff like that. And I think so many people are looking forward to Ahsoka. We're definitely going to get a lot from that.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just wish that August will come very soon, because I just simply cannot wait for Ahsoka. And also, we have to. We don't have to. Let's not forget that show is going to be 100% done by Dave Filoni. That's his show. So you can imagine a lot of crazy stuff. We're gonna see a lot of crazy stuff. Not to mention there's gonna be a lot of fan service, so to speak. Oh my God, there's gonna be all crazy shit. Because the thing is, when Dave Filoni not only writes an episode but directs it, some shit is gonna happen. We're gonna get some fan service. For example, when he wrote Dave Filoni, when he wrote Star Wars, when he wrote the Mandalorian episode, The Jedi, with Ahsoka. Not only we got Ahsoka, but she mentioned Thrawn. So that was the Book of Boba Fett. We got Ahsoka, Luke, Grogu, and in the end we got Cad Bane. And I'm only Dave Filoni can do a thing like that. Only he can. I want
to give a special shout out though for Bryce Dallas Howard, who I feel has done all of her episodes that she's done in every single season has been fantastic. And every single time I'm watching it and her name pops up at the end, I'm like, that's brilliant. Bryce Dallas Howard, she does a massive special mention to her as well.
Also, let's not forget I just want to say this on purpose. The Guns for Hire that people don't like at all, it's been directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. She's the one who directed it. And that's one of the reasons why I appreciate it even more, because she not only proved throughout The Mandalorian, not only she proved that she's a great director, but also, it proved, just like everyone else, give Bryce Dallas Howard a Star Wars movie to direct. Give her a
Or
movie
just
to
a
direct.
movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Gave her a movie to direct, because, and also I'm so happy that she's going to direct an episode in Star Wars Skeleton Crew. I can't wait to see her episode on that show as well. Which, by the way,
the amount of directors, the amount of top quality directors they've got in that for that show, it really, really, it doesn't shock me, but it's really great to see.
Yeah, we got Bryce Dallas Howard, John Watts, the guy from Moon Knight. Like we got a lot of directors, like very famous directors. Exactly.
In there.
Oh my god! Like I really cannot wait to see Star Wars Skeleton Crew as well. Which, if I'm not mistaken, is gonna come out late 2023. I think, because they're already like in post production or something like that. They already wrapped filming. But anyway, I think we said everything about the Mandalorian season 3.
I agree.
Okay, so now we go to the overall conclusion, which is the rating. Now, from 1 to 10, I don't usually do 1 to 5. I usually do go 1 to 10. From 1 to 10, how would you rank season 3?
I mean, like the way I sort of approach like rankings and ratings and stuff like that is like, what else have I seen of that year, or what have I seen from the other seasons? And what score did I give it for that? I would say, because this season was a weaker season than what we got, I'd probably give it a 6.
Fair enough. Including like season 1 and 2, I'm going to give season 3... You know what? I mean, I'm a little bit conflicted, but like I think I'm going to give it like 7.5.
Okay.
7.5, maybe 8. I'm not quite sure, but for now, I'm going to say 7.5. Yes, I mean, I will agree. The Mandalorian season 3 is definitely the weakest season of the all 3 together. That's for sure. But even still, there's a lot of in it that I enjoyed, and I still like the way how they connected the story all together. And I like the filler elements that they gave us, and I still think, that all this shitting that they did is really unnecessary, because everything really connects really well, and I like the overall new worlds and new characters that we got, not to mention the guest stars. So overall, yeah, I mean, you know what? Screw it. I'm going with 8. 8 out of 10. It's going to be 8 out of 10. Season 3, 8 out of 10. Definitely. So with that, I think like we're done. So like always, you guys, the drill. Comment, like, subscribe, and all that shit. Like always, Lord of Shadows, signing off.
Film Review Central, signing off.
And may the Force be with you. And see you guys next time.
This is the way.